This is Coulter Girl. Welcome to Beyond Bandwives. These episodes are about independent, trailblazing women who are creative, self-assured, and community-minded. Ladies that are inspiring, intelligent, and have learned to take control of their own destiny. They are beautiful and bold, both inside and out, and are the very women I hope to emulate. So today we're doing our Bandwives and Beyond podcast, and I have got the privilege of talking today, and you have the privilege of hearing from Miss Aimee Coulter. She's married to Jamie of Dragonfly fame here in Shelby. Jamie is, even though I don't know that he plays any musical instruments, but he certainly has a big influence on the local music here in Shelby and Cleveland County. So how are you, Aimee?
I'm good, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it being on here.
I've been wanting to talk to you and do this with you for a little while, and schedules are crazy for everybody sometimes.
Yes,
so why don't you just kind of start off, tell us a little bit about, who you are. Have you always lived in Shelby? How did you get to this point in your life in 90 words or less? I'm just kidding.
I moved to Shelby in 2004 from Asheville, and to my husband at the time, Sarah's father. And I cried a lot because I worked in downtown Asheville, and I lived kind of out in the country, and I had always lived there. I was born there. So it was a bit of a culture shock for me when I first moved here, and there was nothing really uptown at that time. So
Would you say 2004?
Yeah, I mean, most buildings were boarded up. Joe's was there.
Shelby Cafe.
Shelby, of course, Shelby Cafe. I don't know if it was Ichabod's or PC at that time.
So it was a big change. How old was Sarah? She was little.
She was 4. Yeah, she was 4.
When y'all moved. So did she have this big culture shock coming?
No, she didn't. She morphed right to it. And I mean, I love it now, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. It's grown so much, and I made wonderful friends.
What brought you to Shelby? Was it, did you guys
Sarah's dad, he transferred.
Okay,
He worked
it was
for
a job
Coke.
situation. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't want to live in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And we just kind of settled in Shelby.
Okay. Well, we're glad you came. How lucky for us that you embraced the change.
I did embrace the change. After a few months, I did embrace the change. Yes.
So when did you and Jamie meet?
We met in 2014. I met him once, I think, at the farmer's market when he was selling his tomatoes.
Yes.
A couple of times. But we got to know each other in 2014.
Okay. And then got married from there.
2018, yes.
Yeah. Oh, very sweet.
Still together.
Yes, you
plugging
are.
along. Yeah. And he is Mr. Dragonfly.
He is.
He really supports local music, and he's just a music freak. He loves. Even when we go out of town, we always find live music
somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about Dragonfly for a second, why don't we do a little plug of what's coming up, and not just actually what you guys are doing and what Jamie's doing there at Dragonfly is the Cleveland County Music Hall of Fame.
Yes, that is Dragonstock, which is scheduled for September 23rd. There will be 10 bands. There will be music inside Dragonfly and in the alleyway. So the electric guitar music, the loud music, will be in the alleyway. And when that band shuts down, there'll be acoustic playing inside. So that'll go back and forth all day. It starts at noon and I think goes to 10. Yeah. And your husband, Christopher Medicine Crow, will be playing.
Medicine Crow will be playing, so they're looking forward to it. We always have a great time at Dragonfly. It's a very welcoming place, and
it's cheers.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the goal. We want to be like cheers.
So before you met Jamie, because I know you really like wine. You have your favorite. What's your favorite wine?
Well, it depends on the time of year. In warm weather, I like a really thin Pinot, like a California Pinot or French. And in the winter and fall, I like a juicy cab.
Okay. Awesome.
Mhm.
Is that just because of, is it a flavor thing? Is it a what you're eating with it? Or is it
I think cabs are much heavier, and it's just in the summer you want something lighter.
Lighter, yeah.
Because it's hot.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a big white wine drinker, so I just drink the Pinot.
Yeah.
And no, I didn't drink wine before Jamie.
I was going to ask
Yeah,
if you.
he trained me with the Dragonfly Special.
Yeah.
It took him about a week for him to change my taste buds to dry reds.
Well, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too.
No, I was on the speedy.
Bad.
I was on the accelerated.
Yeah.
Accelerated training.
Deborah Blanton, because she does a lot of the wine tastings out there. I'd love to hear her talk about it. I can't figure it out sometimes.
Yeah, she's extremely
well versed.
She's well versed. Our own little sommelier.
Yes, that's exactly it. So, so sliding away a little bit from just Dragonfly, and while we're talking about music, what is your favorite music? What is your favorite kind of music? So when you get in the car radio when you get in the car at the end of the day and it's like, okay, gotta decompress.
Mine's based more on mood, but I listen to a lot of the 80s rock.
Yeah.
And more, I guess, hard rock. Jamie always, he will, as soon as he gets in my car, he changed it to, NPR or something.
Oh gosh.
I like the music that makes you drive fast.
Yeah.
And it's very de-stressing, it's just like, and then if I'm working out or if I'm cleaning the house, I always got my headphones on and, it's something like that.
Yeah.
Luckily, Sarah was trained young to like a lot of different music. She loved Squeeze when she was 3. That was like her favorite band. Oh. And then she would say, "Play the Men's, Mommy, play the Men's." That was AC/DC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
the men's.
Yeah,
she was learning young, the AC/DC. So she's a sweet girl, a lovely young lady.
Yes, she's grown. Yeah, I get reminded of that.
Yes, they will do that, won't they?
Yes, they do.
They do tell you. It's hard to think about them. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I know they are 20-something and on up there.
They're still your baby in your
is
mind.
This my child? Yeah.
Yes, especially when they're a lot like you. It's
yeah.
It's like,
those are the dangerous times. So she is a lot like her mom. So.
Oh yes.
Well, that's got to be some good.
Yes.
So what good qualities of yours does she have, do you think?
I think she defends people. She probably gets involved a little too quickly in defending the underdog, and she has no issue standing up for herself whatsoever. She's very strong, very strong-willed, and I wish I was that strong when I was her age. Because sometimes I think, oh, I've made her too independent, but I don't know if there's such a thing as that.
I don't know either.
You do the best you can.
It's better than, having that independence, and I like seeing my kids excel and being able to take care of things on their own, and life's not always easy.
Well, especially now, I think it's so much harder. I think for kids and
different
young
stresses.
adults, and
it really
we
is.
didn't, live under the microscope of
social media,
where everybody knows everything we do.
I
Has proof of it.
Yes, thank God. Yeah, what is the meme that says, I grew up before cell phones and smartphones and all that, and when I left the house, my mom had no way of tracking me down.
No.
Unless she was calling from house to house.
We know where our kids are all the time.
I know.
We could be gone,
for hours on end, be home whenever it's dark.
Absolutely.
Or whatever they say. And you said you grew up in Asheville. So do you have brothers and sisters?
I have 2 brothers. One is in West Virginia, just outside of D.C., and then one lives in Taos, New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And they're both Air Force men and are out now. So.
Do they have red hair like you?
No, we had different mothers. They're the children of my dad's second marriage, and she was like half American Indian, so they're very tall and dark. And
got complexion, but you do have beautiful red hair.
Oh, thanks.
So, my daddy had his hair's a little bit darker than yours whenever he was younger, but I'm hoping one of my granddaughters has the red hair.
It looks like she has. It has to be on both sides. Yeah. So, both my great grandmothers had red curly hair, but both my parents were brunette. So it skips.
You never know how that stuff comes out. You don't. So,
no, you don't.
Tattoos. I'm going to talk about one of my other favorite subjects, because you mentioned when you came in that you're getting a new tattoo. So how many tattoos do you have?
I have 3.
Okay.
I have 3.
Yeah, because I know you have the dragonfly on your arm. What else have you got?
I have a tree on my back it's like branches on one side and leaves on the other, and it represented when my parents were sick. My mom was under hospice care, and my dad was under palliative care at the same time. So it was like a release. It represented a release. So I have birds, flying from it. I did that right after my mom passed away. So I think tattoos for most people are very meaningful.
Yes.
You may think it's one thing to look at it, but to them it may be very
something different. It is. People always have such good stories about why they choose what they put on, even if it's, no matter what the subject matter is, there's usually something behind it. So
yes. I'm seeing Eric Metcalf tomorrow, and I'm excited.
Do you know what you want, what you're getting? Do you have it all?
Yes, I've talked to him. Well, I sent him something and said, just take artistic freedom.
Okay. All right. So, will you share what the subject is, or?
It is the word free.
Okay.
And what that represents, and I think there'll be a bird coming from both. I'll have a lot of birds on mine. There'll be a bird from each side coming from it. But I've told him to just go with it.
Where are you going to put it?
I think I'm going to put it on my wrist. Okay. I believe. It's one thing I regret about the one on my back is I never see it.
I know. That's the thing about the ones on your back. And you just can't put a mirror up there and do it. Just doesn't do justice.
Occasionally, and you don't really see them. So, and then my dragonfly, Jamie and I we each got the dragonfly, which is our logo at Dragonfly, on the day we got engaged in Savannah. So it was just, I didn't know we were getting engaged that day, obviously, but we had gotten tattoos that day.
Nice surprise. Very cool.
Yes, it was quite a surprise.
What's the significance of the word free?
Me personally, I think.
Yeah. What does it mean to you?
I think as you get older as a woman, and my mother used to tell me this all the time, she's like, the older you get, the less you're going to care about what people think and that. So I feel the older I get, the more free I am with my thoughts and opinions. Whereas I think when we're younger, we feel like we have to be everything for everyone.
In the way they want it.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you just evolve.
Yeah.
You just become who you're supposed to be.
Yeah. So somebody posted on Facebook a few weeks ago, a friend of ours that she doesn't live around this area, but really she was talking about women who sort of like were in their 20s in 1970s and in that time, and she was talking about all the things, the strides they made in terms of equal rights, and they were the ones that wore mini skirts, and they did this and they did that.
They did a lot of the fighting.
They did. And she said her comment was basically that you can look back at just about any generation, and there's warriors in every one of them, in every generation. And there's things that are different in every little grouping that make everybody so unique and special. And I thought it was kind of a cool little thing.
Yes, it's true though.
It is.
Yes.
And the trick is sometimes I think that the younger generation, like Sarah's, and then my daughter Sydney, and who's close to Sarah's age, I do think that it seems like they do a little better job of saying, well, this is what, of not having any problems about saying as much about this is I'm accepting of this, and I believe
Oh.
this, and I,
Yes, their boundaries are strong, and
yes.
they don't have a problem saying, no, I don't want to do that. Or,
Yeah.
Whereas I think when you and I were younger, it was like you had a hard time telling
Please.
someone no.
Yeah.
It's like you were stretched thin, and
Mhm.
and that was the norm.
It was.
But I think they just are like, no, I'm going to set my boundaries, and I'm going to participate with what I want to,
Yeah.
not with what I want.
Mhm.
So.
So little birdie also said, I have heard too, and I wanted to talk about this anyway because just a while back, you and Jamie went on this obviously magnificent trip to Italy.
Yes.
So I always like to ask people about their travels. So talk to me about Italy. Tell me what's happening there, what it was like then, and then you've got some plans going forward.
I do. We went last October. We went to Florence, so we flew from Charlotte to Munich, and Munich to Florence. It was, I guess you could say it was our big. We never really took a honeymoon. So, and Jamie, he never leaves the store for more than 3 days.
No.
So for us to go for 2 weeks was like, it was incredible, and Claire made that possible by working so much, and we really appreciate her. But Florence. It's hard to explain because, we're only a few hundred years old in this country.
I know.
And it's everything there is
older than the country.
Yeah.
Older than our country.
But one of the big things was everything is real food. There's nothing processed. Everything is fresh. Everything. And there's just everybody's kind of chill. They open their stores late. They go home in the afternoon and have a little siesta. They're just like, shh, just chill. I love that. And then, of course, all the art and architecture that's in Florence in particular. I mean, that's the birthplace of art, really.
It is.
So we went to multiple museums.
What was your favorite museum, or do you have a favorite particular piece?
The Uffizi.
Okay.
And we went to the Salvador Dali Museum I think that one was in Siena, which is in Tuscany, about 40 minutes from Florence. And so we loved it because, he's just really unique.
Yeah, he is.
They had a lot of his sculptures there, which was
awesome.
Just like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of experience. And then we went to some wineries in Montepulciano, and we went to this one in particular, and it was a very small winery. It was a husband and wife. They were much older. And they stored their wine in a pre-Roman cave. It was pre-Roman, so you just think about that. So when you go down those steps and into it, you're on this cobblestone floor, and there's fossils in the wall. It's amazing.
It's a little mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling, yes.
This is here. Yeah. It is different. I've heard other people say things like that too, that in other countries that are much older than the United States. I mean, now we certainly have landscape and those kinds of things that are, but none of our buildings aren't like that. Yeah, they may seem old, but not compared to the others. So, and you've liked it so much, you're going back to Italy?
I'm going in October. Jamie surprised me with plane tickets over there, or a plane ticket over there. I have,
and he's not going with you. You're going by yourself.
He says he can't get away from Dragonfly. Okay. So, I'm going over there, and I have a friend who's staying there at the time, so I'm sure an older friend, and she goes every year for a month. She knows that city like the back of her hand, so I'll be hanging out with her, I'm sure, quite a bit.
Yes.
And going to the museums, and we're going to go on a tour to Siena and Tuscany and Montepulciano.
So back into the Florence and into that area that you guys were at before.
And that's the wine. That's the wine country. So the food over there is just it's just incredible. I can't even describe it. Nothing is in a hurry. You sit down and they're in no hurry. They cook they're not
Well,
gonna,
it's
they don't
not
cook
like-
anything until you
Until you
order
order it. That's
it. So,
what.
you might be at a table 2-3 hours. But that's the beauty of it, is that you just,
It's an event.
It's an
not
event.
just
it's not shoveling.
food. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's all the senses are entertained there.
what was your favorite meal or your favorite food there? Can you pinpoint anything?
Well, I really like the limoncello shots that they serve after dinner
Yeah.
every
Ooh, I
night.
would too.
And they're famous for their Florentine steak.
Okay.
They raise Florentine cattle,
Mhm.
and so they're huge steaks. And they are in these glass domes when you go to a restaurant. They're carouseling around, so you pick out a steak
Oh, you
like
pick
want a
out the
piece of
cut
cake.
you want. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're huge. So usually it's the steak is for the table. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
an
Yeah,
individual.
yeah.
And of course the pasta is fantastic.
Mhm. Have you tried to fix? Do you cook much? Do you?
I do cook.
Mm-hmm.
No, I have not attempted those. No, I have not. No.
So do you enjoy cooking? Is it something that you think about and play with and do different things, or is it just sort of
Oh, I
like
do.
I cook because I've got to
No,
have
I do
dinner?
enjoy cooking. I especially love the Charlotte Fish Company that's at the
Oh
farmers
yeah.
market.
Mhm. I do too.
They have just incredible
They do.
seafood, and I get the ahi tuna every
Yeah.
time they have it.
You got to get there early.
And just barely sear it,
Mhm.
just barely, like 30 seconds on each side.
Mhm.
So, yeah. But if you get on their email list, you get the list on Thursday, and you
Yeah.
can say, please reserve.
Yeah, that is true. They do have the email list.
Yes.
Just
Because they do
smart
sell out
thing.
really fast.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's a
I
treat.
learned
It's not
that.
like a, every week thing.
No.
It's definitely a treat.
But it is good. It's different. I mean, when you do things like that, and you might think, oh my God, this is what it costs, but the difference is just
It's really
amazing.
good, yes.
Yeah, and like you said, yes, it's real. There's nothing processed about it, and
No,
um,
it's just incredible.
so mm.
But can't wait. I have a 9-hour layover in Munich, so But
okay. Are you going to try to do any sightseeing around in Munich?
I'm not sure. That airport is so massive. It is
Yeah,
like a
it's huge
city.
airport. Mhm.
And have you ever been there?
I have not, but I have a niece who is, my sister was there not too long ago, and my niece lives just south of Munich. She's working there. And as Leslie was talking, they're talking about how big it is and how.
Yeah, well, they
It's like
have plants growing up the walls.
Yeah.
There's bars, restaurants. There's like an entire mall of duty-free food. I mean, everything's just beautiful. And flying into Munich, when you look down, the landscape is just so tidy.
Yeah.
Everything's perfect little squares as you look. I mean, it's just so clean there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so clean.
They say it's a beautiful area too. So maybe you'll get to do a little bit of
Sightseeing.
yep for a hot minute.
A hot minute. And then Italy, everybody's so nice.
Yeah,
They're just so nice. They're just happy. Like, just in
it's
general.
because they're eating good food and doing it at their own pace.
Oh, yes.
The hustle and bustle is not part of their vocabulary.
No. And in Florence, you don't really drive.
Uh-huh.
Everyone there walks or have mopeds.
I gotcha.
And the cab drivers, there's no road rules there. It's basically who can get through an intersection first.
Okay.
There's no road rules whatsoever. I mean,
So what you see on the movies and on TV is real.
it's absolutely real. Yes.
Did you guys rent a car when you were there before?
No, a friend of ours was there at the same time, and her nephew lives in Holland and had come over and rented a car, and we all drove
Okay.
to Tuscany and spent a couple
So
of
you
nights.
didn't have to do the driving?
No, we didn't have to do the driving. It was okay once you got out of Florence, but in the city of Florence, we walked probably 20 to 30,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
Because you walk everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you just do. But it's flat and,
Easy to do.
and it was
Made for that kind of
Oh, yes.
that kind of transportation, that mode.
Yeah, because when I got back, it's like, well, we were walking 20, 30,000 steps a day.
Mhm.
And now it's like, there's people that won't even come in Dragonfly unless they park out front.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
Drive
the
around for
mentality.
yeah. Drive around for how long looking for the right parking space?
Yes, they haven't been to Charlotte, obviously. And
No. No.
many, many, many blocks away from a music event.
Or the store.
Or that
it
too.
depends on where you're going. So, tell me, Aimee.
Yes.
What do you have? Do you have any pet projects? Any passions when you think about this is really important to me in my life, and I want to tell other people about it. What is it? Do you have anything that?
Well, I'm a Reiki too.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
I've spent a lot of the last year training for that, and I'm
Mhm.
working on my Reiki Master right now. So I would say that's probably one of my big
Okay.
passions.
So why don't you just, in case, make sure everybody understands exactly what does that mean to be a Reiki Master?
Reiki is energy work, and
Mhm.
so basically you are the conduit.
Uh-huh.
Like, I think of myself as a PVC pipe.
Okay.
And so you are channeling energy through you
Okay.
to that person. You have your hands just above their body,
Mm-hmm.
and they're on a massage table, much,
Mhm.
like a massage therapist.
Yeah.
And you start at the head and you go down. And some people feel something when you're doing it, and some people don't feel something then.
Mm-hmm.
But most people have a deep sense of relaxation.
Mhm.
It decreases anxiety, depression. It's been used in some hospice facilities for pain, and it's all what that person really needs. You're just kind of moving energy and releasing
That.
clogged energy.
Yeah.
You can get like a congestion,
Mhm.
let's say in your arm, for instance, and it just needs to flow through again.
Okay. So when you approach someone and you start this, do you have something in mind and like, okay, I'm going to start here. These are the steps that you go through, or do you just sort of enter the situation and see where?
I generally ask them if something in particular is bothering them.
Mm-hmm.
But I do start at the head, but when I feel a warm or a hot spot
Okay.
where you'll feel energy,
Mhm.
you might feel inflammation and you'll feel that heat.
Okay.
Then you're going to stay over that area longer, like a knee
Mhm.
or a hip, or just whatever is
Shoulders,
bothering them,
whatever.
or emotional.
Mm-hmm.
If they're having emotional things go on, it's more
Yeah.
about the chakras,
Mm.
paying attention to those.
So how long have you been studying this?
Probably about a year. Probably about a year. March is when I received my Reiki 2,
Okay.
and I've been training with a Reiki Master as my mentor here in
Okay.
Shelby since then.
Okay. So is this something that when you attain the Reiki Master, is this something that you'll be doing? You'll have your own studio, your own place?
I practice as a Reiki 2 now, but very minimal because of, I have a real job.
Yeah. You got a day job.
I have a day job, but it's definitely something I want to continue learning about.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
That's okay. Go ahead.
it's something I definitely want to continue learning because it just kind of opens the door to so many other healing practices.
Yeah.
Just being in tune with yourself. And when I was in Italy, I did some grounding.
Mhm.
Familiar? So when it was raining one morning, I went out barefoot on the cobblestone streets.
Earthing.
I was
Some people I've heard people say
earthing.
earthing.
Yes, definitely. So that was really neat that I did that. So I enjoyed it.
Very interesting. Have you always felt a connection because I would imagine, with most anything that anybody has, any passions that they have, there's some kind of innate something within them that says, hey, I'm drawn to this, or I'm in tune to that. Have you always felt drawn to working with these energies and learning how to use them to help people?
Yes, I've always felt intuitive, and I have empathy, and I tend to touch people when I'm talking to them. And I worked with a lot of hospice in Buncombe County.
Okay.
And that, that's also just kind of all tied in together with just trying to make someone feel better and take that away, take that pain away or the stress away or anxiety, just listening. And I went through massage school with Jessica Jones, actually.
okay.
We were partners in massage school, but my back was, pretty much wrecked, so it made it almost impossible to do that.
To do that.
Yes.
Okay.
It just was not
Gosh.
in the cards.
That because that can be a very physical.
Yes. And your position, you're
leaning
bending over.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work really well.
Well, maybe that worked out best, that it gave you the opportunity to move into a different kind of practice.
Yes, we covered Reiki for maybe a week in massage school. And so that just kind of opened that door of interest, and then I just kept pursuing it later. So
very nice.
Yes.
I don't know a whole lot about Reiki. I mean, I know that it had to do with energies and how you approach it with a person, which can be very different than, but it's not like a massage, even though it might be kind of under the same big umbrella.
Right. Yeah, I don't talk at all when I'm doing it. And I just kind of let my hands follow to where I feel like you're needing it. And it takes about an hour because I do front and back. And most people say that it's like a deep relaxation.
Yeah.
The next day they'll, tell me I felt this or I felt that. But I don't usually ask them right after because you're just so zen, you don't want to
break any of the...
You want them to enjoy that.
Yeah.
So...
Well, and sort of maintain that space that you help
accomplish,
get into and where they are, and carry that with them as they leave.
Yes, because you want them to feel the best that they possibly can from it.
How much longer will it take you to become master?
I think probably a year, but that's up to my master.
Okay. So it's very much a fluid.
Yes, I meet her
kind of
for
training.
3 hours a week, so it's a slower process.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck on that.
Thank you.
We'll want to hear more about that.
Yes, it's good. It's very exciting.
If you could go back and tell 12-year-old Aimee anything, what would you tell her? What do you want her to know?
I think I would tell her that she doesn't have to do for everyone.
Okay.
Because I always had that personality, I believe. I grew up on a dairy, and I was the son my father always wanted, I believe, because my brothers didn't have much interest in cattle, and I did.
Okay.
So I think I grew up more influenced by males than females, so I look at things differently than most. But yes, that's probably my most treasured memories are with my dad.
With your dad, that's your go-to whenever you're thinking about him.
He had a 10-minute swing, but a huge property, and there was this pasture, I don't know, it was like 20 or 30 acres. So he had put this porch swing, he had set it up like at the very top of this knoll.
Okay.
And whenever you had an issue, he would say, you need to go sit in the 10-minute swing. And of course, all your perspective would change.
Yeah.
It would change because you're looking at beauty, for one thing. You're by yourself. There's no noise. And it allows you to focus.
Yeah. Like the true sense of time out.
Yes, indeed.
But it really should
But without
be.
the little spot in the corner.
Yes. I think that's fabulous. I wish I'd thought of something like that when my kids were growing up too.
Yes.
But it's like...
he did that to me as an adult.
Did he? Said, well, sometimes adults need to go to timeout too.
Yes, you need to go sit in the swing.
But it sounds like it was very inspiring to go sit there. Alone for one thing, and to be able to look out.
Just shh.
Yeah,
that's what it was like. It was just like a valve release.
Yeah,
and then you realize that whatever you were upset or stressed about is really not that big of a deal.
Right.
Not
or you figure out what you need to do about it.
Yeah.
How many head of cattle did your dad have?
We had 100 when we had the dairy. Then we switched to beef cattle when I was about 18. And then in 2000, which was the year Sarah was born, we switched to all pedigreed cattle.
Okay.
certified Angus.
Mhm.
So that was all about the bloodlines at that point.
Yeah.
You're just creating bulls that throw beautiful babies.
Yeah.
So
Therefore, that procreation, I guess.
yes,
Get all the good genes.
all the good genes. It's all about genetics.
It is where that's concerned. So which did you prefer, the dairy cattle or the beef cattle?
Well, for the lines that it creates to have a really exquisite cow or bull, I would say the beef cattle.
The beef.
For the docility, definitely the dairy, the Holsteins.
Yeah.
Because we had a bull named Wishbone, and my brothers and I rode him bareback. I mean, he was a Holstein, so he was just a gentle little lamb.
Mhm.
He was gigantic, but
Yeah.
So yeah,
They are docile. My grandfather was a dairy farmer. He had Holstein.
and it's a
they
lot
were
of work.
It's
tremendous.
Yes.
It never
It never stops.
Yeah.
It's twice a day, 24/7.
Yes. So thank you, farmers, because
Yes.
without you, we would have no food.
That is exactly right. I do appreciate that commitment that people make, and I'm really glad that they do.
Yes.
So I'm going to have one more question for you, but before
Okay.
I have that, I want to just plug the Dragon Stock again.
Yes.
So on September the 23rd.
September the 23rd. Yes, music starts at noon. There will be vendors. I think there will be food trucks. So it's all about raising money for the Cleveland County Music Hall of Fame. All the proceeds go to that. The bands that are participating are very passionate about Cleveland County music. And I think we all should be supporting our local musicians.
Yes. And the venues. I mean, you guys have, 3 years ago, and I hate to say the word, I mean, it was hard whenever we went through the pandemic and going through that, and
Yes,
it was a big commitment for business owners to
It was, yes. I mean, we were
do everything to
the
keep it
wine
going.
the wine store was open because alcohol was
Yeah, I know.
essential.
Yes.
Thankfully. But the other side, of
And it
course,
was.
closed. No bar, no music.
No.
But Jamie would set up, like I don't know, was it?
He did like Zoom.
Like a
some
Zoom,
things.
and they would come in and play, and nobody would be
Yeah.
there, and so people could watch it at home.
Yeah,
You know,
it did. So,
but I think everybody appreciates the fact that they can be out again and hear
Oh, yeah.
music.
yeah.
And we have some really very supportive venues in Cleveland County. We do. And we have
really
such
do.
talent here. I
I
mean, the
know.
musical talent, it really is incredible. And the history, too.
For such a little town.
Yes, definitely.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Oh, gosh, let's see. Well, I love to have coffee on the screened-in porch in the mornings by myself.
Okay.
I get up before everyone else does, so that's pretty zen. And my hummingbird, I call her Gladys.
Huh.
She will come and hover in front of me, literally on the screen porch, like, hello, please come.
Good morning.
Like my bird feeder's a little too low, or it's not quite right, or I mean,
Needs
they're
more
just
sugar.
Yeah, she's very demanding. So yes, I really enjoy that in the mornings.
Like the whole thing about you have your time, that's your time, because you said by myself.
Yeah, I think everybody needs time with themselves to really enjoy their space.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing a little bit of yourself. I learned all kinds of stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you
love
having
it.
me, certainly, and I look forward to. I
Yeah.
always look forward to seeing you at Dragonfly.
Yes, always.
Your whole group of girls.
Thank you.
I love your girls. Yes.
I was from.
You live without barriers.
There you go. That is what we want to do.
Embrace
And
life.
have a good time with it. So
Yes, I mean you're like a spirit animal. Everybody wants to grow up to be you because you're just so confident in the way you dance, and I mean I think it's incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. So
Welcome.
you have a great day, and thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes. Thanks for listening to Beyond Bandwives. Look for our next episode. Until then, this is Poster Girl wishing you a beautiful, badass life.